What's going on YouTube? This is the Rogue Ranger here, back by popular demand with the power progression of Sanji, the chef of the Straw Hat Pirates. Now before I get into it, I'd like to ask for a small favor from you beautiful people, and that would be to hit the subscribe button and click on the notification. It really helps the channel out. Now on to the video. Born Vinsmoke Sanji to the royal Vinsmoke family of the German Kingdom in North Blue, being the third born in a set of quadruplet princes, his father, Vinsmoke Judge, planned to genetically enhance all of them before birth to make them into superhuman soldiers with no emotion, which he considered perfect for his army. However, Sanji's mother, Vinsmoke Sora, being against this practice while still being pregnant, took a drug that would counter the modifications to ensure they would grow as normal humans with emotions. This resulted with only Sanji being born normal out of the quadruplets, at the cost of severely weakening her own health beyond recuperation. When his father began their training to capitalize on their genetic potential, while Sanji's siblings excelled, he alone continually lagged behind due to his body remaining normal. This made him an easy target for his brothers, who bullied him regularly, which his sister Reiju occasionally tended to his injuries, while his father Judge ignored it due to his disdain for Sanji's weakness. This, and becoming convinced that Sanji would never develop superhuman abilities, eventually leads Judge to deciding to erase his son's existence from his future plans by putting an iron mask on him and locking him in a Vinsmoke castle dungeon, even going as far as to stage a state funeral for him, claiming Sanji had died in a tragic accident. After the German kingdom crossed the red line into the East Blue, Sanji declared to his sister that he wanted to run away and become a chef. With Reiju taking pity on him and breaking open his cell, allowing him to escape, Sanji cut all ties with his family and renounced his title as a prince. 2 years after he left the Vinsmoke family, a 10-year-old Sanji, now working as a cook on the orbit, would have his fate changed when the ship was attacked by the pirate Redleg Zeph and his crew. However, during this raid, both ships were caught in a sudden storm, sinking them. Much to his surprise, Sanji awoke to find Zeph had chose to save his life from drowning, with the two washing up on a rock outcropping high above the sea. Despite their good fortune, there was little food for them. A few rations had washed onto the rock with them, but there was no vegetation, animals, or a way to reach the water to fish. Splitting up what little remained of the rations, Zeph ordered Sanji to sit on the other end of the island to look for any passing ships. Days passed, and weeks after Sanji ran out of food, emaciated, Sanji decided to take the opportunity to kill Zeph for his share of the food. Cutting open the sack only to discover that there was no food inside, just treasure. To his horror, Sanji realized that Zeph had given him all the rations, and had even eaten his own leg to survive. All these decisions Zeph had made due to Sanji sharing the same dream as him, of finding the All Blue, a rumored sea of legends said to be the only place in the world where the four seas connected. Fortunately, at that moment, a ship appeared, saving the two, and desiring for others to not experience the same hardship on the seas as them. From then on, the two opened the Barantier, and in the 9 years that followed, working as a sous chef, during which time Sanji would vastly improve his cooking under Zeph's tutelage, and also developed his signature kick-based martial arts style, Blackleg style, under the latter's guidance. Blackleg style is a kick-based martial arts taught to Sanji by Zeph, which earned the former pirate the moniker of Redfoot due to dyeing his shoes in the blood of his enemies. Due to years under Zeph's strict tutelage training in this fighting style from childhood, Sanji has developed extraordinary superhuman strength, resilience, speed, and agility. Of course, as a kick-based martial arts, the training has granted him colossal leg strength. Relying solely on dynamic and well-coordinated kicks, this fighting style resembles a unique combination of real-life martial arts, Brazilian capoeira, French savate, and Korean taekwondo. As stated by Sanji, the emphasis on kicks is to prevent damaging his hands during battle, as he values them to cook, the exception being handstands, of course. This repurposes their use into acrobatics. He uses to execute consecutive back handstrings to augment the force and range of his kicks. Thus, it boasts a wide and impressive array of kicking techniques, such as direct kicks, disarming kicks, flying kicks, spin kicks, and kick combos, coupled with superior acrobatic skills, making it an extremely versatile martial art, able to effectively weave numerous and powerful attacks upon adversaries and overpower numerous enemies at once with incredible efficiency. Fitting as a chef's martial art, most of his attacks are named after French words that are usually cooking/food terms related in some way to a particular portion of the opponent's body that he is targeting, or to the nature of the attack itself. It should be noted that despite being a very powerful fighter in his own right, due to his chivalry and love for women, Sanji refused to harm them even if being attacked, claiming he'd rather die than attack a woman. Defending and countering, however, is acceptable for him. When Gin, a dangerous and starving pirate, was denied food from the other chefs and kicked out of the Brontier, Sanji, however, decided to make him food anyway, which he graciously accepted. Monkey D. Luffy, who had been working as a chore boy at the restaurant to pay off damages he caused earlier, witnessed this and, impressed with Sanji's kindness, decided to invite him to join his crew. Though he initially declined due to being bound to his debt to Zeph for saving his life, however, 2 days later when Gin's captain, Don Krieg, came to seize the Brontier, Luffy stepped up to fight Krieg in exchange for his debt to be repaid. Watching the battle, Sanji was amazed at Luffy's determination against difficult odds, showing him the worth of determination against the seemingly impossible, and helping get Zeph's point across to get Sanji chase their shared dream instead of wasting his life at the Brontier. Accepting Luffy's offer, he joined the Straw Hat Pirates as the chef and becoming one of their top fighters. Now for his feats. He's introduced defeating Marine Lieutenant Fullbody, holding him up by his neck with one arm, showing he's not lacking in upper body strength. When Don Krieg picks up and tosses this paddle boat, Sanji easily kicks it away. Here he slips past Pearl's defense, kicking him in the face. While hurt from enduring Pearl's attack, Sanji's still able to fight on par with Gin. Here he casually defeats the Sea King Momu. He easily takes care of multiple fishmen, and it should be noted the average fishman is 10 times stronger than the average human. He breaks a large chunk of stone to protect Luffy, and once back on land after struggling underwater, he easily defeats Karubi, a fishman karate martial artist, sending him through the Arlong Park building. And even while underwater, his kicks are still strong enough to break through stone. In Little Garden, he easily hunts dinosaurs, and here he easily defeats the Unluckies, assassins sent by Baroque work. In Alabasta, one of his kicks was strong enough to lift this giant crocodile into the air, making it cough up rubble it swallowed earlier. He clashes evenly with Mr. 2, one of the top assassins in the Baroque work criminal organization, even keeping up with him when he steps up his Okama Kenpo with his swan slippers, and eventually defeats him with a delayed kick effect. In Skypiea, he finished off Satori, one of Enel's priests, with a high-speed rolling kick, and he kicks this falling fishman giant hybrid into a standing position. Sanji's able to kick these 5 guys in one quick motion, easily dodge Pearl's fire attack. He hits Karubi with this first kick of his combo before the fishman can even react, dodges gunfire from the Unluckies. He keeps up with and reacts to Mr. 2, even with his swan ornaments giving him a longer reach. In Jaya, he dodged Mont Blanc Cricket's gunshot point blank range, and during the Davy back fight, he delivers several high-speed kicks to Hamburg's face. As a child, he endured the frequent abuse beatings from his superhuman brothers, and later in his life, he's able to get up from kicks from Redfoot Zeph. As an adult, he casually withstands Pearl's flames. With Zeph at gunpoint, Sanji withstands this beating from Pearl, then proceeds to fight evenly with Gin afterwards, and even continues after being hit by his weapon, which easily broke through Pearl's defenses. Here he gets back up after being sent flying through a wall. Trying to reach Luffy underwater, he takes Karubi's arm fin to the back of his neck, which the fishman proceeds to follow up with multiple attacks which are far stronger due to being underwater. Sanji even endures his insides being crushed by the sudden change in underwater pressure from being dragged to the seafloor, coughing up blood. And he's also able to get up from a blast of water from Arlong, which he compares to the force of a shotgun. On Drum Island, he survives this crash and subsequent being buried alive by an avalanche. Clashing with Mr. 2, they both get back up from sending each other flying into buildings, and he endures these kicks from Mr. 2 using his swan slippers, which he compares to high-powered rifles. During Skypiea, he endures this explosion from Satori and the shockwaves from the latter's dials. Here he gets back up after being electrocuted by Enel, and later survives being directly hit with this massive column of lightning that usually leaves deep craters in the ground, even commenting how he needed a light while taking a hit of his cigarette before losing consciousness. During the debut back fight, he gets hit by this giant fishman hybrid and endures multiple hits from the groggy monsters. When Gin has him restrained, Sanji uses his cigarette to distract him and escape. Fighting Karubi underwater, he escapes his grasp by filling his gills with air, suffocating him. He figures out Mr. 2 can't use his Okama Kenpo while his body is transformed, and then proceeds to trick him into changing back into his regular form to land an attack. Originally self-taught since childhood before being personally trained by Zeph, Sanji is an exceptional culinary master of the highest caliber, possessing an immense knowledge and the capability of preparing almost any kind of delicious food with a strong sense for the aesthetics of cooking. He cooks with amazing speed and dexterity, particularly carefully in his use of knives. He's even able to deduce the ingredients and method of cooking and preparation involved in a dish in a very short period of time from his extremely sharp sense of smell and taste. If you're wondering what does this have to do with his strength in combat, Sanji was able to convert his culinary skills to utilize in combat against Wanzi, who uses food in his fights, making the situation an exception to Sanji's personal rule of never using his hands or kitchen utensils in a fight. During the NS Lobby arc, Sanji unveiled an enhancement to his Black Left style dubbed Diable Jambe, French for devil's leg. By spinning in place at high speeds, he ignites one of his legs with the extreme friction generated. As Sanji has been shown to have an innate resistance to fire, this allows the impacts of his kick to be strengthened due to the extreme heat, burning his opponents with every strike. According to Sanji himself, he's able to handle the heat without getting burned due to his burning passion being hotter. However, whether this is true or due to some unknown genetic modification that he's unaware of is unclear. It should also be noted that Diable Jambe appears to put extreme stress on Sanji's leg, as after several use of the technique, Sanji himself comments that if he uses it one more time, he risks breaking his legs. Here he easily defeats Jerry, a supposed boxing champion, and multiple train carts full of government agents. During his fight with Wanzi, he rearranges his face with a kick combo, and then undoes it with a single kick to his chest. This spinning kick nearly breaks through Blueno's iron body, and here he casually defeats a juryman. Against Khalifa, she acknowledges that if he wasn't holding back, he'd easily have beaten her. With this surprise kick, Sanji sends Jabra, an Iron Body master in his hybrid form, flying, and his regular kicks even leave him out of breath from keeping up his defenses. In Thriller Bark, Absalom, a pirate whose body weighing over 600 pounds due to being augmented with animal parts like the skin of an elephant, the jaws of a lion, and muscles that are a mixture of bear and gorillas, is noted that ordinary people would break their legs if they tried kicking him, but Sanji effortlessly knocks him out. With this single megaton kick, Sanji manages to send Oars, an ancient giant who towers over regular giants, falling to the ground. After Zoro cuts up this building, Sanji uses its pieces as ammunition, launching it at Oars. Here he's able to kick the rudder chain of Thriller Bark around Oars, and once again Sanji rearranges another man's face, this time permanently. Using his Diable Jambe, he completely burns through Jabra's iron body with a single kick, and only needed another strike to his face to defeat him, sending him into the ground, forming a crater. Against Oars, he's able to deflect this massive attack to protect Robin. On Saobody, during a team attack with Luffy and Zoro, they send this pacifista crashing into a building, and later on during the battle, he delivers some serious damage, sending it towards Zoro. Even while exhausted from fighting the first pacifista, he's still able to knock this second one down. Before they can escape out the back, Sanji jumps across the room, cornering these members of the Frankie family. Here he easily dodges Jerry's flurry rush and screw drop kick. He dodges Wanji's flaming skates, and during this exchange he kicks him 12 times in an instant. Here he's casually dodging bullets. While fighting Khalifa, he easily blocks all of her kicks. Here he dashes in with a kick to save Usopp, and later in the battle he dodges his attack and retaliates. He easily reacts to Jabra's shave, kicking him in the snout. Against Absalom, Sanji dodges a bazooka blast which was invisible. Here he's able to avoid this attack from Oars, and later Sanji was able to dodge his onslaught blows. And on Sabaody, he's shown fast enough to avoid lasers from a pacifista. Here he takes blows from Wanzi's Ramen Kenpo. He recovers after this Tempest kick from Blueno. Here he survives Khalifa after being immobilized by her bubble powers. And after his body's returned to normal, he's ready and raring to go fight the significantly stronger Jabra. He quickly recovers after being sent flying and is still standing after taking multiple of his attacks. In Thriller Bark, to protect Nami, he holds her above his head, keeping her balanced while enduring Absalom's attacks. Here he endures being stabbed in the back through his chest by Absalom, and was still able to hold the extremely heavy pirate in place with only one hand, before finally defeating him with this barrage of kicks, sending him flying into a wall. During the battle with Oars, he survives this strike from the ancient giant, who proceeds to toss him away and recovers. Later on, he and the crew endures this barrage of attacks from Oars. Afterwards, Sanji is one of the few to remain conscious after being hit by Bartholomew Kuma's Ursha shock, an air-compressed shockwave attack that devastated an entire island, despite having just endured an exhausting battle with the giant zombie Oars, and here he survives a laser beam while exhausted from fighting pacifistas. He pretends to fall for Jabra's lies to lure him into an attack. In mid-air, where his opponent has superior mobility, Sanji blocks one of his arms to minimize the damage and reserve his other leg for the finishing blow. Against Absalom's invisibility, Sanji uses salt to reveal his location, and later his own blood when he steps into it. And later into the battle, he figures out he's using his invisibility powers to hide cannons on his arms. Having been separated from the Straw Hats and stranded on Kamabaka Kingdom, where all the inhabitants, including the animals, are cross-dressers, described as his own personal hell, Sanji continuously runs away from the inhabitants seeking to convert him. Upon receiving his captain's message to regroup in 2 years instead of 3 days, Sanji, realizing that the attack cuisine of the Kamabaka Kingdom had enhancing properties, decides to challenge all 99 masters of the new Kama Kenpo to claim each one of the 99 attack cuisine recipes. Even at the risk of losing his manhood if he loses, Sanji takes on the challenge for the sake of getting stronger for his crew. Long surpassing his mentor Zeph, Sanji has further developed Black Left style from his training against the Okamas of Kamabaka Kingdom, even incorporating some of their techniques into it. His continuous running away from them for days, regardless of the harshest weather conditions, has increased Sanji's already impressive speed and leg strength, and even allowed him to discover how to walk on air and underwater. Creating his own version of Rokushiki's moonwalk, dubbing it skywalk, by kicking the air to jump higher, giving himself the appearance of flight. Due to this technique, Sanji's speed and mobility are significantly boosted. While with the underwater version Blue Walk, Sanji is able to kick the water to travel at incredible underwater speeds comparable to a fishman. Heightening his mastery of Diable Jambe, which now envelops his leg in larger and stronger flames, Sanji can now use the technique far more frequently and efficiently by igniting his legs much faster than before without risking harm to himself. He's even capable of igniting both legs simultaneously and using the technique underwater without losing much strength. Taking his fire attacks to the extreme due to the trauma from the last 2 years, Sanji, simply by being reminded of it, can enrage himself so much it causes him to burst out in flames through sheer anger. Calling it hell memories for obvious reasons, while in this mental state, the heat Sanji generates by a single kick is enough to engulf even massive foes in flames. How Sanji is not able to set his legs ablaze faster may be tied to his anger and disability, though it's never been confirmed. During those 2 years, Sanji also learned Haki, a mysterious power that allows one to utilize their own willpower for various purposes. Having access to the 2 main types of Haki, with Armament Haki, he's able to form an invisible armor around himself to increase his defense and offense. This even allows him to bypass Devil Fruit defenses, typically by striking Logia users' intangible bodies and enhancing his Diable Jambe. He can even concentrate his Armament Haki to harden certain areas on his body, blackening them to maximize his defense. And with his specialty, Observation Haki, he can sense not only the presence, strength, and incoming attacks of others, but even their true emotions and intent. As shown with him sensing Viola's true nature despite having just met her, this level of mastery is due to during his stay in the Kamabaka Kingdom, Sanji constantly being on careful watch for the constant harassment from the Okamas day and night. It should also be noted that due to his chivalry and love of women, Sanji's Observation Haki has often been shown to allow him to sense and locate beautiful women, especially when they're in danger, and even sense their true nature despite whatever front they put up, as seen with Viola and Pudding. Here he easily breaks the neck of a pacifista when 2 years ago it took the whole crew to defeat one. While underwater, a kick from his Diable Jambe was able to burn one of the Kraken's tentacles. He was able to launch Luffy past Fishman Island's bubble dome. Here he's easily able to kick this giant blowfish fishman in the head, forcing him to stand, and later with his hell memories incinerates him with a single kick. On Punk Hazard, even when stuck in Nami's significantly weaker body, he's still able to utilize his fighting skills to take out grunts. However, he still has to refrain from using certain techniques as her body isn't strong enough to handle them. Able to fight on par with Vice Admiral Virgo, Sanji sends him flying into a wall. In Dressrosa, temporarily clashing against Doflamingo, the warlord resorts to restraining Sanji with his string abilities. On Zou, Sanji one-shots Sheepshead, a Smile Devil Fruit user. When confronted by his superhuman brother Yonji, unlike when they were children, Sanji did this to his face, which a hammer couldn't fix. Battling his father Judge, is forced to use a human shield to gain the upper hand. Here he breaks his brother Niji's jaw and would have done worse if his brothers weren't threatening Zeph's life. While fighting Luffy, Sanji managed to hit him hard enough to make him temporarily pass out, though his captain was exhausted from a prior battle. He casually clashes against Daifuku's genie. He burns through and shatters the hardened candy, restraining his family, freeing them. He, along with Luffy, blocked an attack from Big Mom, one of the 4 emperors, to protect his sister. With one leg, he lifted a carriage carrying a giant cake and the chefs who helped make it. Here, Sanji is able to fight off the Big Mom pirates to rescue a weakened Luffy, and here he casually blocks the spear attack from Daifuku's genie. He's able to kick away cannonballs to protect the Thousand Sunny. He easily escapes from being surrounded by the Sea Urchin Spike Squadron, disappearing so fast that they hurt themselves. During Punk Hazard, Sanji was able to dodge Virgo's kick when it was centimeters from his face. In Dressrosa, sensing a sniper who was 16 meters above the ground, he intercepts him before he could shoot. And using his Skywalk, he's able to travel from downtown Dressrosa to the edge of Greenbit to intercept Doflamingo in no time. During Whole Cake Island, Katakuri, a man who can see into the future, foresaw Sanji dodging a point-blank gunfire. However, he didn't see Sanji dodging his own assassination attempt. While carrying Pudding, he dodges point-blank gunshots from her, and later on he's able to avoid Big Mom's massive sword slash. Here, Sanji moves so fast to attack Oven and save Chiffon that onlookers couldn't even see him and thought Pound was the one who attacked him. And later in the arc, he intercepts Raisin, kicking him away to save Luffy. While traveling underwater to Fishman Island, Sanji is shown withstanding 5,000 meters of extreme underwater pressure without coating, a depth that would have crushed submarines. Here he takes direct punches from both Jinbei and Luffy to the head simultaneously. On Punk Hazard, while Nami was stuck in Sanji's body, she commented on how it was tough enough to withstand a direct explosion from Caesar Clown's Gastanet, and after recovering his body, he was still able to fight on par with Virgil despite earlier mentioned injuries, during which when his right fibula is fractured, he continues fighting even with his injured leg. On Dressrosa, after clashing with Doflamingo to save his crewmates, Sanji only suffered mild injuries from the Warlord's attack. On Whole Cake, Sanji is strong enough to withstand powerful attacks from his family, recovering quickly from Judge's spear attack and Niji's electrical blows. Sanji was unharmed after taking a raid suit enhanced kick to the face, despite the force of the blow being powerful enough to send him flying through the ground and into a wall. He gets up after this insane punch from Luffy. Later in the arc, rescuing him, he recovers after being smashed into the ground. Afterwards, rescuing Luffy from Big Mom's forces, he doesn't even notice this bullet wound in his arm until being checked out by Chopper. After saving his former family from the Big Mom pirates, one of his brothers, Niji, as a parting gift had secretly given Sanji the raid suit Germa 66 had created and specifically designed for him to use. Initially refusing to put it on due to his hatred for his family, but later on relenting for the sake of his crew. Raid suits are special, technologically enhanced outfits designed for combat, developed in the Germa Kingdom, and are exclusively utilized by its royal family and military commanders, the Vinsmoke family. Specifically designed for Sanji to use like the other Vinsmokes raid suits, it grants Sanji the ability to fly and strengthen his kicks with jet-propelled boots, and serves as an armor to protect him from attacks, along with a cape that can generate a shield. Like his siblings, it comes with its own unique ability which allows Sanji to blend in perfectly with his environment, leaving him invisible to the human eye. Granting a childhood dream of his, this invisibility gives him a great advantage in battle, enabling him to land surprise attacks on opponents without them seeing him coming or escaping unfavorable situations. Originally known as Stealth Black, Sanji rejected the name and dubbed this form Osoba Mask. During the raid on Onigashima, Sanji noted that after repeated use of the raid suit that his body began to feel different and even in some cases better, confusing him. Later on, during his fight with Queen, the Plague, Sanji realized that the genetic modifications that lay dormant within him since birth have finally begun to awaken due to the raid suit. This granted him a superhuman physical constitution, an exoskeleton that makes him nearly invulnerable, and an accelerated healing rate like his siblings. Fearing that he would become an apathetic Germa soldier like his brothers, Sanji made up his mind destroying his raid suit, choosing to remain himself and permanently severing his ties to Germa. However, later during his battle with Queen, accepting his genetic modifications after realizing they weren't affecting his emotions, Sanji combined them with his armament haki to enhance his Diable Jambe, drastically increasing the strength and endurance of his legs to generate hotter blue flames that they couldn't endure before. Dubbing this new ability Ifrit Jambe, Sanji used the enhanced speed and weight to significantly increase the power behind his kicks. He's even shown to be able to enhance his held memories technique, with this engulfing his whole body in blue flames. In Wano, Sanji easily kicks this guy into the ground, breaking his sword, smashes Page 1 into the ground with a kick while he's in his massive Spinosaurus form. Testing out his raid suit, Sanji proceeds to overpower Page 1. And later he has no problem facing Diaz Drake, another ancient zone user, without it. With his raid suit on, he clashes with King, a Lunarian. Engaging with Queen, Sanji kicks him with enough force to send him spinning and deflecting all of Perospero's candy arrows. Here he holds off both King and Queen. Resuming his battle with Queen, he lands this kick sending the cyborg to the ground. With this kick, he forces Queen to defend himself with armament haki. Using his held memories technique, he sends Queen through several walls. Freeing himself, Sanji destroys Queen's mechanical arm. Unveiling his Ifrit Jambe, Sanji curve stomps Queen, defeating him and sending him flying off of Onigashima. On Egghead, here he sends S-Shark, a new model of Pacifista called the Seraphim Flying, and later he does it again, this time causing an explosion. Against Kizaru, he defies physics by kicking a beam of light, causing it to dissipate, and later develops a powerful kick to Venus Jiro's jaw. Here he easily dodges bullets fired by Queen and even his laser beam attacks. Here he quickly saves Zoro from Queen's sneak attack, and after awakening his genetic enhancement, Sanji's speed and agility increased tremendously, enabling him to casually move so fast that his opponent first mistook his swiftness for invisibility. On Egghead, he repeatedly saves Bonnie from Marines and Pacifistas. Here he saves her and Kuma from J. Garcia Saturn. Here he blocks a laser from Kizaru, and carrying Vegapunk he dodges Saturn's legs. Against Page 1, his raid suit's cape protects him. Here, thanks to his raid suit, he withstands and recovers from King trying to pierce him. He endures being brutally beaten by Black Maria without his armament haki, and going as far as to refusing to use it at the risk of her harming herself. Afterwards, Sanji recovered and re-entered the main fray, surviving the combined onslaught of the All-Stars King and Queen. When Queen tried crushing Sanji's bones and organs by coiling around him, something which even bypasses armament haki, however, with Sanji's awakened genetic enhancement, he simply forced his body back into place. Even Queen's haki-enhanced sword broke against Sanji's head, and he proceeds to shrug off multiple bullets, all without using haki. Later during the battle with Queen, Sanji takes multiple attacks head-on, each one a variation of all three of his brother's techniques. During Egghead, this punch from S-Shark fails to make Sanji budge. He survives J. Garcia Saturn's invisible attacks which blew this Marine officer's head off. He immediately recovers from being kicked in the face by Kizaru and survives this bite from Venus Jiro. And during Egghead, Sanji uses this bubble gun to prevent Kaku from taking action, rendering him immobile. For a guy whose main job is to cook, he sure kicks a lot of ass. Sorry for the long wait, life outside YouTube can get pretty hectic, but if you want more out of this power progression series, you can comment down below and I'll see what I can do to make it happen. Like and subscribe, it really helps out getting more content out. This has been the Rogue Ranger powering down, and have a nice day.